Well, Deb Murphy filed this following report for Sierra Wave Media. Both pros and cons of the proposed 15-home Kingston subdivision on the 2.75-acre Bishop Nursery site were presented at the public hearing held at Monday night's Bishop City Council meeting. Now, the pros concentrated on Bishop's need for additional housing. The cons on what they defined as a flawed draft mitigated negative declaration. Both sides will have to wait up to 2 months for the outcome. Now, prior to the opening of public comment, Bishop City Planning Director Gary Schley introduced Bill Taylor, who will be working with the City of Bishop on the environmental review. Taylor has a planning background in Mammoth. Following the comment period, Bishop City Administrator Jim Tatum explained that the final environmental document would take from 6 to 8 weeks to complete. Now, at that time, the Bishop City Council will vote to accept or reject the negative declaration. We will get that document out prior to the 72-hour notification requirement, Tatum said. We will address every comment. They will be part of the final document. Now, the public comment period was extended to August 15th during the council's July 13th meeting. Now, speakers from the residential areas between Main and Home Streets objected to the project based on traffic impacts near 6 public and private schools, street parking, and safety issues, as well as poor planning and degradation of raptor and riparian habitat. Terrence Tay came armed with a letter from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife received by the city 10 days prior to its first public hearing on the project, and an environmental site investigation report conducted by Tetra Tech. This was for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power back in 2009. Now, the nursery was purchased by Bob Kingston approximately 15 years ago, and that was by current LADWP leaseholder Bob Kingston. The parcel is currently in escrow. Now, while the draft document found no issues with hazardous materials or water quality during construction, Tay pointed out sections in Tetra Tech's report focusing on hazardous materials currently in the site's soil and groundwater. Now, on the pro side, 2 members of the city's Economic Development General Plan Amendment cited the need for housing in Bishop. Said Alan Pirasantra, "I ask that you support and respect someone willing to invest in our community." Also, realtor Jake Rasmussen said the project's density conformed to the neighborhood and, quote, would enhance neighborhood home values, end quote. Now, Bishop Nursery Manager Liz Merrill addressed contentions that the west end of the nursery site was recently cleaned out as a cover-up, noting that previous managers had not addressed storage behind the retail nursery. Merrill said, quote, "It was a mess back there. We just started the cleanup. There was no dumping, no cover-up. If a nursery is not workable at that location, it's not a placeholder for their neighbors. Peace and quiet," end quote. You can see more on this story by Deb Murphy on our website, sierrawave.net. We'll avoid all creatures great and small. That's the way Dr. Richard Johnson, Inyo and Mono County Health Department officer, started a press release noting that mice, ticks, fleas, squirrels, chipmunks, and mosquitoes, and of course bears. Again, that's the advice from Dr. Johnson, noting that it has been an interesting summer so far in Mono County, and Dr. Johnson says he's not talking about the weather or the smoke. He notes that hantavirus have 2 cases in 1 household in Mono County. One was briefly hospitalized and both have recovered. Dr. Johnson says, remember, it's all about contact with urine and feces from the deer mouse. Tick-borne relapsing fever, known as TBRF. Dr. Johnson notes there's been 3 laboratory confirmed cases of TBRF reported. Now, this is about soft ticks, which you will never see, and are not the hard ticks that can cause Lyme disease. Plague. Inyo and Mono counties have not had any human cases yet, although the last person infected in California was in Mono County in 2006 until this summer. The California Department of Public Health has been working with Mono County to test dead squirrels, but so far all tests have been negative. Now, a teenager from Los Angeles who had been camping at the Crane Flat area in Yosemite National Park was recently diagnosed with plague, but he is reported to be recovering. And to make things really interesting, Dr. Johnson notes an alert from the emergency room physician recently diagnosed malaria in a returning traveler from Africa. And Dr. Johnson notes the Eastern Sierra has had 2 persons at risk for Ebola visit the area during the time when they were at risk for becoming sick. And you can see the entire press release with a lot more information from Dr. Richard Johnson on SierraWave.net. Well, we are now in our 4th year of drought, and water customers in the Eastern Sierra doing a pretty good job cutting back on usage. Now, in July, Mammoth Community Water District customers, according to a press release from the MCWD, used 85.6 million gallons less than in July of 2013. This 38% reduction exceeds the MCWD's level 3 reduction goal of 30%. General Manager Pat Hayes said, quote, "These savings demonstrate the whole community understands the severity of the drought, and they are pitching in to help our water supplies last through the summer. We're still in a critical position with our water. Everyone needs to keep up the conservation effort," end quote. Now, the year 2013 is being used as the baseline for comparison purposes by the state of California as well as the Mammoth Community Water District. Now, under level 3 restrictions, parks, schools and golf courses are operating under conservation plans that have been submitted to the Mammoth Community Water District. And these recreational facilities have reduced their irrigation usage by more than 30% in June and July and are allowed to irrigate outside of restricted days of the week and hours as long as they adhere to reductions outlined in their conservation plan. All customers are encouraged to visit the Mammoth Community Water District website for a list of the current restrictions. Also, City of Bishop water customers continued to conserve water in July. Press release noting using 24.5% less water than used 2 years ago. Now, the press release notes that much like they did in June, Bishop City water customers used about 16 million gallons less in July of 2015 than July of 2013. That's about 140 gallons saved per resident per day. Now, in December, the City of Bishop will have to report to the state how well its users have conserved water. The city could be subject to $10,000 per day fines if it doesn't meet the 25% reduction in water use. Now, you can see more information on these stories on our website, SierraWave.net. Visit the Mammoth Community Water District website or the City of Bishop website, which is now at cityofbishop.com. Well, in honor of Dave McCoy's upcoming 100th birthday on August 24th, the Mammoth Lakes Foundation is inviting the community to sign a birthday card that will be presented to McCoy early next week at his home in Bishop. Members of the public are welcome to sign the card Thursday, August 13th, Friday, August 14th, or Monday, August 17th, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. at the Mammoth Lakes Foundation offices in Edison Hall, located at 100 College Parkway in Mammoth Lakes. It's across the street from Saracoso Community College. A press release from the foundation notes that the Mammoth Lakes Foundation was established by Dave McCoy in 1989 and offers free college education, books, and tuition to any Mono County High School graduate or resident pursuing an AA degree from Saracosa Community College, in addition to providing year-round theater programming through the Mammoth Lakes Repertory Theater. Again, everybody is invited to take a moment, head on over to the foundation, and wish a happy 100th birthday to the man who has done so much to make Mammoth and the Eastern Sierra what it is today. Now, if you can't make it in person, you can send your birthday wishes to him at info@mammothlakesfoundation.org, and they will happily include with them the card. It's interesting that today is Roma McCoy's 95th birthday, and again, without Dave and Roma McCoy, well, most of us would probably not be here in the Eastern Sierra. We thank you, and we'll be back with more news.